All right, let's talk some NBA. Apparently, they will be starting the season. They got a new CBA here December 22nd. I hear free agents going to start November 20th. And then they can sign with November 22nd, I think it was. Draft supposed to be November 18th. So you have a CBA, you have a new season and a new probably 5 or 10 year deal agreed to. So that's out the way. But check out the NBA Talk playlist, and you got some rumors out there. We're going to talk about Kuzma in a minute, but apparently the Knicks and the Clippers are interested in Russell Westbrook. And if the Clippers trade for Russell Westbrook, more than likely it's going to be for Paul George's contract. Personally, I think that might be a win for the Rockets because you already got a point guard in James Harden. People classify him as a 2, but in that offense, he's a 1. I mean, coming off the bench for Oklahoma City Thunder many years ago, he was the point guard. You know, he's a primary ball handler, facilitator, shooter. He's been doing that before, Mike D'Antoni come along. Mike D'Antoni just gave him an offense that he get free will and free reign in. But for the Clippers, they just going to be even farther away from winning a championship. They far away with Paul George, or farther enough away with Paul George. And you put Westbrook there, they look for a point guard. I just don't like the way that work. All right, he ain't gonna win nothing. He don't play to win. He's starting to slow down, knick-knack injuries here and there. He ain't a true point guard, no way. No matter if he get the assists, the points, the rebounds, just don't like the idea of bringing them there. You just carve yourself deeper and deeper into the hole as far as being a championship contender. And I would just say, just build a team around Kawhi Leonard. That's what I would do. I would just build a team around him. And people act like it's a problem with them building a team around Kawhi Leonard. It's not. You can trade to the Knicks and get Mitchell Robinson and get a few players, Dennis Smith Jr., and build the actual team around him. You still got Kawhi, and you still got, Lewis Williams and them, but, everybody want to do a super team. They had a super team last year with Paul George, without the third wheel, and it just ain't worked. But, could they win with Russell Westbrook? I just always vowed that Westbrook would never win the championship as a team's point guard. They look for a point guard, it might be not that many available options, Maybe if you can trade Paul George for Ben Simmons, but then you compromise in shooting. With Westbrook, you compromise in three-point shooting. So hopefully they ain't that stupid to do that. I think they should take the Paul George contract or trade Montrezl Lewis Williams and Patrick Beverly and bring back 2 or 3 really good players instead of one big superstar. And that's just my opinion on it. But if that's what Jerry West want to do, if it's more than a rumor, then I trust Jerry West, and maybe you think that's the move to make. But me personally, I wouldn't make that damn move. You just going from bad to worse. And I don't think Paul George is going to get over his playoff woes neither. So, you really could trade Paul George and bring back Chris Paul. You could throw a couple more people in there and bring back Steven Adams. And I know they still got the issue with Chris Paul not being healthy and this, that, and the third. But, if I can get Chris Paul and I can get a center, but then again, Oklahoma City Thunder probably don't want Paul George back. So that might be the issue right there. But then maybe you could trade Paul. Maybe you could trade Lewis Williams, Patrick Beverly, Montrezl Harrell and try to get them back. But issue is that Oklahoma City got all the Clippers' meaningful draft picks at this point. So, you got to remember, Kawhi Leonard can opt out next year. Paul George can opt out next year. So, it got to be better options out there than that. Jesus. What if you can get Devon Mitchell over there? He's basically a combo guard. Why don't you call the Utah Jazz and be like, the Mitchell want to come to the Clippers. Can we do something for Mitchell? Try to get in contact with Mitchell, not tampering, and tell him to decline the max contract and try to get Devon Mitchell over there to really run the show. I hear he working on in Miami. People think he might be headed to Miami. That'd be a good look for Jimmy Butler and them because he can defend, he can score, he can facilitate. Donovan Mitchell, a good player, but you got to continue to look at players that may not be getting that recognition. Maybe you could do Paul George for Andre Drummond, and maybe Darius Garland or Colin Sexton or something of that nature. There's options out there. You got to just keep looking. Maybe you can do Paul George, but he ain't going back to Indiana. Maybe you can say Paul George to the Brooklyn Nets. Give me Karis LeVert, give me Spencer Dinwiddie, give me a couple picks, and give me DeAndre Jordan back or something, or Jared Allen back. There's options out there. They just got to be creative in those options and how they going about doing those options as well. You keep looking. Orlando, maybe you can do Paul George down there for Mo Bamba. They draft pick this year, next year. Or you can give Vujovic and try to bring in Evan Fournier to play off the wing. You may probably throw in Aaron Gordon too, so that gives you a little bit more depth right there. But they just not gonna get creative as well. I mean, maybe you could work out a deal with Charlotte. I heard they like James Wiseman. Maybe you get Charlotte next year pick, get Devontae Graham, maybe Miles Bridges, or they don't got no center over there, so maybe that won't work. But Russell Westbrook ain't the issue, he ain't the answer over there, man. But if that's what they want to do it. We just know they ain't winning the championship next year. I mean, why don't you go see if Damian Lillard to come? Hey, that's worth doing. I mean, you can give him Paul George. Shit, I'll give him Lewis Williams too, and Patrick Beverly. Try to get Damian Lillard to LA, but I mean, I don't think Russell Westbrook, is the answer. But Kevin O'Connor, he reported on his podcast, I believe. You can follow him on Twitter, and the podcast link will be there. But yeah, I just went through that deal. Sorry, I think that's a sorry deal. But let me know what you guys think about the deal about Paul George going to. Probably Paul George going to Houston for Westbrook. That's what I would think it would be. But, Paul George do good in Houston. Steven Silas and him, they already got a point guard, so it's pretty much you doing them a favor. You taking on a longer contract, a worse player in Westbrook compared to Paul George at this point. And I think Paul George and Westbrook, and Harden do good in Houston. They got to find a big fella, but hey, that is what it is. But yeah, apparently Kyle Kuzma won a big, sizable extension with the Lakers. Obviously, who wants to leave LA? But more than likely, he might be traded. You hear rumors of him going to the Pistons back home. He from Flint. Going there for Derrick Rose. You hear other rumors and being involved in there. But personally, he think he better than what he is. He's a good player. He not a third wheel. Remember he came off a foot injury with Team USA. And he's just not good playing with Anthony Davis and LeBron James at this point. So, best thing to happen for him is, get somewhere like Brandon Ingram did and let his game show up and show out. Trapping down. You go somewhere where he can, get with a team where he can actually handle the ball, be a second option or first option or third option for a legit third option, and not just be a two-man game with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Kyle Kuzma not a bad player. It's hard to play with LeBron. You name me somebody who got better playing with LeBron. You probably could say Kyrie Irving, you know what I'm saying, but he wasn't happy. Somebody that got better ain't happy. Nobody. Chris Bosh's career regressed. Dwayne Wade career regressed. Kevin Love career regressed. And Anthony Davis gonna have to be the one. He willing to let Anthony Davis do his thing. But with Kuzma, he a good player. He just got to get into the system where they gonna call some plays for him. Everything he get is just spot up shots, off the garbage, rebound, or he push it down the floor. And that's the only thing he getting. And Kuzma got more to offer. He could post up. He could take you off the dribble. It's just that Frank Vogel ain't like him because he wasn't a willing defender. And he got to be able to be a willing and give a defensive effort because he's a tremendous player. If he gave a defensive effort, he'd be even better. But he was never going to shine with LeBron and AD. He laughed at Ingram and them losing. And he ended up getting a fake ring because that ring don't count. But Ingram really earned himself a max deal. And for Kyle Kuzma, who's been playing on the discount for years now, being the 20-something pick in the draft, he won his money. But for the Lakers, personally, trade him. You go to Detroit, he'll get a lot of ability to be able to, score. But you go to Detroit when they good, and we got a championship team there. We play defense, so he gonna have to be a willing defender. And at some point, he gonna say, "I'm ready to go out there and play defense." Or maybe they can get him to the Houston. I'm not sure what Houston got to offer, but he'd be good fit in that. Depending on what Steven Stiles do there. But I think in Brooklyn he'd be a good fit. I think in the Knicks he'd be able to do everything he want to do and more. He might be an all-star with the Knicks. They might be having a number one overall pick or lottery odds next year, but he definitely don't deserve a serviceable contract after last year. It ain't his fault. It's simply that he's just not a good fit there. Vogel don't like him. I mean, you put him with the Clippers, he'd be a baller over there because he'd probably be taking all the shots when Paul George being terrible in the playoffs. I mean, Sacramento, he'd be good with Luke Walton. Put him anywhere, he'd be good, man. I think other than a situation where he's a third wheel. I mean, it'd be nice to see him go to Portland. But hey, let me know what you guys think about Westbrook apparently maybe rumored to go to the Clippers, or what you think about Kyle Kuzma wanting a big max. Well, I'm not gonna say max, a big serviceable extension. Don't forget you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you got business question, inquiry, response, video requests, All my social media links in the description. Twitter's the fastest way than Facebook and Instagram. We got a Facebook group. Check me out on Sportscaster. www.sportscaster.com and follow me at Goodfella Sports over there, man. Y'all can check that out. It's a good platform. Want to make a donation? Best way to donate is share the video. Hit the subscribe button, bell icon button, but Cash App is CJ Good 313. Appreciate the love, support. We gonna